All right, so I got a really interesting video for you guys today. In the interest of staying transparent, I really want to share you. I do it a lot, and I want to share more about my own personal life and my own personal finance journey, right? So I'm going to start this video with something that's going to shake it up a little bit. So today I'm going to talk about financial advisor, me myself, who is not financially on track. I know, right? Practice what you're preaching, that. But it is, and I'll get into it a bit more in a minute to tell you why. But as of right now, the first time in 5 years, my wife and I are not financially on track. It's an interesting concept, but you'll love what I'm about to talk about. So, bit of context, bit of backstory. I've never been a businessman. I've never wanted to be. I have never wanted to go out on my own. I'm a big fan of salaries. You can achieve a lot of wealth being on a good, secure, stable income for the majority of life, right? Obviously, there's not as many benefits as being a business owner, but it's secure, it's stable, and you can get very, very far just being on a salary if you do the right things, right? So how did I start where I am now? Well, what essentially happened was I was sick of working for businesses that weren't doing what I wanted to do. And I tried a few. I tried 3 financial advice firms before starting my own business, and everyone, promised the world and get there, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And being an employee, you couldn't change it up as much as you'd like, and it just wasn't the direction I wanted to go, right? So the famous CFO story, when I had the CFO client come in and been to 6 advisors and wasn't happy, and I gave my 2 cents on the matter and said, you just need to work less. You're on track for everything financially. You can just work less and spend time with your family. And that changed their life and changed my life, right? It showed me that money wasn't the key. Money was just the vehicle. It wasn't the goal. It was the vehicle. And that I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that where I was. It was more of a make wealth accumulation kind of focus. So that's why I started Three Kings, right? I started Three Kings because I wanted to provide an edgy, different financial advice or consultants or education platform that could allow people to focus on enjoying today while planning for tomorrow and achieving their goals, the lowest risk needed and the highest efficiency, right? And that's what we do. So let's get to me now, right? So how are we off track? Well, I've really prided myself on every year making sure that our whole dream life was on track. Gemma and I, we weren't achieving what we needed. We didn't have everything now, but we were on track to do so in the timeframes that we wanted. And this year I had to make a bit of a decision, right? So I haven't taken an income from the business in 18 months. Just been reinvesting, but we put enough money aside and we planned it well enough that we could do so, right? That we would stay on track for 18 months. And start of this year, we came to that point where, I either had to start taking that salary. Well, I was supposed to take that salary to stay on track. But, opportunity has presented itself within the business, and doing the numbers, I realized that I could take this business to levels I could never dream of, right? This business could take us to places that wasn't our goal, but I'm not going to say no to it, right? And I advise aspirational people every day, and it's helped me become more aspirational. And I wanted to have a crack. I talk to people all the time about having a crack, and we were having a crack, but this is having a real crack, right? And so what's happened is this year, we've had to make the decision that we either take the salary and stay on track, or I reinvest back into the business and have the opportunity to grow it tenfold and take ourselves to places we never dreamed of being. Now, how did I make that decision? How am I comfortable with being off track financially? The reason is because I know what our plan is and I know what our next steps are and I know what it takes to get to where we want. Weighing up the decision was very, very easy. Now, I've given myself a time frame of 12 months, so this year, to get back on track to where I need to be for this to make sense. And what that means is if I fail, let's say worst case scenario, which is not going to happen, but let's say absolute worst case scenario, I had to fold the business, right? Which is an option, which is a thing that can happen in any business as the worst case scenario. Let's say that was the case. I would only have to go back to get a job at an average salary. It would take me 12 months to get us back onto the track that we were on. 12 months, that's it. So what's my downside? 12 months. 12 months of grinding hard work to get us back onto the track that we've fallen off. So what's the upside? Well, the upside is if in these 12 months I secure and achieve the conservative goals that I've set, which we are well ahead of already, I can bring forward our life and enhance it by 20 years. That's the risk versus reward, right? So the risk is 12 months, the reward is 20 years. Now that obviously, now that you're listening to this, you're thinking, well, that makes absolute sense, right? Who wouldn't do that? That's exactly right. But it just doesn't come from just throwing caution to the wind. This decision has come and is easy to make because we have been so on top of our financial plan. And this is what making sure that you have your financial plan in place and have all your numbers outlined and you know where you're heading does. It allows you to take educated risks. It allows you to be able to weigh it up rather than just winging it. And if it fails, you don't know what your next steps are. I know what they are. If it goes well, and if I hit the goals that we are hitting and less than where we're doing better in the next 12 months, our life's going to be in a position that I would never have dreamed of being in, right? But if I don't, and the absolute worst case scenario happens, I only need to go and work for 12 months to get back to square one, back on track, right? Back to where we need to be at this point in our life. And that comes from us being so on top of our plan over the last 5-6 years and knowing what we need to do to get there. So I wanted to share that with you, right? Because it's a pretty catchy heading, right? Catchy title. The financial advisor is not financially on track. So we are currently technically not financially on track for our goals. But it's because we're taking a risk and we're investing. It's an investment in our future that could bring it forward significantly. But we know what the downside is and we know what the upside is. And that's what's really important for you guys. Anyone out there wants to start a business or is investing in whatever, is understanding what the worst case scenario and the best case scenario is, understanding what the risk versus reward is so you can make that decision appropriately. And you can make that decision to enhance your life, not risk it all, right? Because so many people go out and they make investments or they start businesses that if it fails, everything goes to shit and they're back at square one and they're risking it all, So it's really important that you understand that. And the best way to do that is to make sure that your foundations are in place, which we talk about all the time, and having that short, medium, and long-term plan to know at any given point where you need to be achieving your goals. So that if you fall off track or if you take a left step or a right foot step to somewhere else a bit, you understand that what you need to do to get back on that track, right? So if you're going this way, that's the easiest, least point of resistance, least path of resistance, and you want to go this way a little bit, you know how far you can go to come back to it easily, rather than, you end up out here and you can never get back to that track. And that's what we've done. And that's what we're doing this year. So I'll keep you in tune with the journey, but I really want to share that with you because there's a lot of people taking a lot of risks at the moment. And I think it's interesting seeing a financial advisor who's not financially on track, but why, and the reasons behind, and how we make decisions in our own life and how we plan to try and get to where we want to plan. So hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any more questions, reach out, book in, chat. If you want to get yourself on track, make sure you know where you're sitting. Please feel free to book in. We're always here for a chat.